This Jocks 94.5 podcast is brought to you by Millennium Satellite and Video. Log on to msvnow.com. TV excellence everywhere. That's Millennium. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning starts now.
All right, so let's continue the conversation here on how many SEC teams could possibly make the SEC championship game. I think we're stuck around 10, which is where I said I was going to place the over-under. Some sticking points with South Carolina, Tennessee, Ole Miss, Vanderbilt. Those are the teams kind of on the edge of, I don't really think so, and a couple of maybes. Let's pit some of these teams against one another. Who you would like more, any chance to make Atlanta, Greg? South Carolina or Tennessee?
I go South Carolina.
South Carolina or Missouri?
Probably go Missouri there. Schedule's just a little bit lighter.
You can also keep both coordinators. I think that helps just a little bit. But South Carolina has a returning quarterback. That's a tough one. When you're weighing those against each other, who kind of has the best chance, a better opportunity, that one's difficult. Texas A&M or Auburn?
Auburn
or Florida?
Auburn A&M's a real toss-up.
It's close.
It's a real
It
toss-up.
is. I feel like overall talent-wise, Auburn has a little bit of an edge. A&M not far behind. It's just I think at certain places you like Auburn's a little bit more where their ceiling is, mainly quarterback, wide receiver, but A&M's not like way behind.
I also think that Auburn's schedule is slightly more manageable than A&M's. I think A&M's schedule's tough.
Ole Miss or South Carolina?
I would say South Carolina.
Here's a good one for you. Better chance to make the SEC championship game in your opinion right now, Oklahoma or Auburn?
Oklahoma.
Oklahoma or LSU?
LSU.
LSU or Alabama?
Alabama.
LSU or Georgia?
Georgia.
Okay. He joins us each and every week. Thanks to our friends at Coke and Piggly Wiggly. It's the coach, Wimp Sanderson. Coach, how we doing today?
Well, I'm doing okay. Not a lot to talk about. Everybody's all excited about what's going to happen. Both of you, Rick Newhouse didn't come to Alabama to see practice, but he has a writer who's not a sports writer. He's just a cotton-picking writer. Make the comment that the only reason the quarterback at Alabama Simpson was starting is because he waited his turn. From what I can gather, you don't do it like that. I mean, you're going to play against the defense to see who's not throwing at least. I just don't, and he makes a big deal out of this. Both of you comment about that. I just think that you got to do an OC there, and so I just think that the two that are not starting may be more gifted athletically, but they're not starting. But I think Ty Simpson's starting because he did the best against defenses. Comment on that for me.
I don't think that any player anywhere is going to start for any team solely because they waited their turn. Now, are there some that will greatly benefit from that, as in they've been here, they know the system, and we don't have any other options? That's normally where I would point, Coach, because there might be guys who have been there long enough that they're the only ones that actually know where the play is going or who to cover on a certain play or which way is left and right in your outside zone scheme. So they're going to play. It doesn't make them the best player at their position in the league. It doesn't make them the most talented player in that position group. So I think you can greatly benefit from that, but I don't think there's a player in college football that the coach has said, you know what, he's been here 5 years. By golly, he's our starter. I just honestly, I think there's too much on the line for these coaches to do that.
Yeah. Well, I think the guy was writing the article because he wanted to stir up some stink because there's not much stink to stir up right now until they start playing. Any other thoughts on that? I haven't seen
the article. Who wrote it? What does the article say?
Some guy from it just says that Rick has said that the only reason basically, without saying exactly, he was starting because what the head coach said. He awaited his turn. He felt good about his mental attitude. He's hung around to wait his turn. His turn has come up. That kind of stuff. I didn't think it was very good. So,
well,
Greg, what do you think?
I've never been a coach, so I can't sit there and say that. But I have this weird fascination with people that are convinced that they don't play the best player. It's amazing to me how often fans think, "Oh, well, the coach is not playing the best player." Like the coach's job depends.
Like he doesn't have $10 million a year on the line.
Yeah, the coach's job depends on winning games and playing the best player. So and this comes up a lot, by the way.
Hold on one second, Greg. Coach, what was one thing on this earth that you like to do more than get money when you were coaching?
Win.
There you go. And every other coach would have said the exact same thing.
And how do you win, Coach?
I play the best. I play the ones I think are the best players.
Correct.
I don't want to play the ones I think might be good. I want to play with the best players.
Correct.
Might be good.
And those goober mamas that call me up, I have the assistant coach talk to them.
That's the first time he's dropped Goober Mama on the show, Coach. I like that one.
I'm just amazed. Like there's a lot of very highly intelligent people that are convinced.
Right.
And no sports and no dynamics.
That's right.
You start playing guys that aren't the best player, you're going to have a revolt on your hands. Seriously.
Sure you are.
Like the players aren't dumb. Like they know who the best players are. You start playing the guy that's not best, and that even goes. And all the time we hear this, especially after a team loses 2 or 3 games. It's like, well, just pack it in.
Yeah.
Let's just play. Let's get ready for next year. Let's just play the young guys. That doesn't work. It doesn't happen like that in real life.
Yeah. You two guys are geniuses when it comes to that. I love being on y'all's show for the 2 minutes I'm on there. Let me tell you,
Coach. You've never only been on the show for 2 minutes.
Why do you always act like we don't have you on very much?
Well, I listen to all that crap y'all talk about before I get on. The most important thing is to be ready to play come this Saturday when the open games start. Your team ready to play. And what you are mentally, I don't give a rat's rookie. If you look at the schedule and you're playing a team that's not in the top 50, you better be ready to play. Ohio State and Texas won't have any problem. They'll be ready to play. I want to be darn sure I beat the teams I'm supposed to beat, as well as the others as well. But the mental part of it, and you being ready to play and having your kids ready to play, is the most important thing. And you gotta mash your kids. I believe that with all my heart. You gotta work their tails off, and you gotta be ready with them. And they ain't gonna like it, but they gonna like it when it's over with. And I know I bring this to a personal thing. I had a kid named Hollywood Robinson, who was a terrific player, but I couldn't get that booger back. Yeah, he wouldn't. I couldn't get him the garden back, and I worked him till I worked his fanny off. And he texted me. He didn't like it at all. He hated me. When he got back, he texted me a note one time. He said, "Coach, that's the best thing ever happened to me. I made more money in pro basketball than I did because I've worked hard." Yesterday, because of some problems I've had losing my wife and so forth, he sent me a note, and at the end of the note, he said, "We love you." And to me, those kinds of things is what you do with your kids. I know I'm not talking much football now. I'm getting off from that, but it's what you do when you go through hard times. You got to get through them and look back on them and glad they happened. There's a football game between Florida State and Alabama. I'm switching over now. Florida State's got a lot of players, but they're all transfers. When you have a lot of transfers, to me, it's not easy to get them to play the way you want them to play at the beginning. Comments on that?
Yeah, because this, Coach, is not just football. There are some sports that can maybe have less of it. I believe baseball doesn't need as much. Certain positions do, but pitcher catcher does. Middle infield does. But continuity and chemistry is key in football. Think about all the different things that can change on a certain play in coverage or responsibility. Like, people here fit the run. I don't think a lot of people understand what that means. Like, you have a designated area on the field that you have to be in because nobody else is most likely going to be there. And if you're not there and the run play goes there, that's how you see all of a sudden Kenyon Drake comes through untouched for 15 yards right up the middle. It's because one guy, two guys were not where they were supposed to be, and therefore there's a giant vacancy, and that goes there. Same thing with coverage. A lot of times it's not one guy that misses an assignment in blown coverage. A lot of times it's 2, 3, and therefore somebody's wide open. And if you can't communicate it, the one guy thinks it's the one coverage call, the other guy thinks it's the other coverage call, and so they're technically, in their minds, not even doing the wrong thing. Yeah. But they didn't communicate it, or they haven't done it enough together. Like, a lot of times a center guard can't hear the calls in a certain stadium, but they haven't operated against that look enough times together. They don't know that they're supposed to combo that D tackle on that play. So he runs free right up the middle, and he hits a quarterback in the face. That continuity is key.
I ain't trying to brown nose you, but I'm telling you right now, being an offensive lineman ain't no easy job. It's a booger bear job with no credit. It is a terribly hard job with no credit. Greg, anything about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the worst job you can have. But it's the most selfless, most important part of the team.
Yeah,
so
right.
I think it's a phenomenally great job because there's nothing quite like that dynamic, though, in that room. Like, it's just the best room because you have just a fascinating collection of individuals that are, and it's like there's like a checklist when you're putting your offensive line room together. You have an insecure guy, you have a tall, goofy guy, you have a huge redneck, you have a guy from the country. Like, it's like you have a funny guy, you have a guy that's always overweight.
There's always a super quiet, intimidating guy.
Yeah, there's always a guy that doesn't say a word the whole year.
Great today, boy.
Like the church mouse guy. You also have
there's one guy that thinks he can get away wearing bow ties.
Yes, there's one guy that's fancy that likes all the fancy stuff. There's it's just a hilarious group. But it's awesome. So I think the offensive line is, you do it for all the right reasons. Like, at the end of the day, like, I didn't play quarterback because of the glory that came with playing the position. I played quarterback because I was a good thrower and I like to play that. I like the challenge of playing against 11 guys. With an offensive line, you don't go into it like, oh, I'm not going to get the glory by playing this position. Like, you like to push people around. Like, you like to physically manhandle human beings. That's kind of cool. So I think it's different strokes for different folks. I don't know if you see it that way, Cole.
Yeah, sometimes you're just fat and can't play anything else. But
that's true. And sometimes you're skinny and slow and you play quarterback.
You two guys, I got you stirred up today. But, I get a call on my show about how you get ready. And I said, well, you get ready because Gus Malzahn is going to spend the whole summer looking at South Alabama's defense. That's how they get ready. That's what he's going to do. The new defensive coordinator at Florida State, Alabama, is going to take a look and see what he did at Nebraska, and they're going to spend months trying to see what he did against certain things. I don't know anything about any football, but I know enough to talk about getting ready. And so those are the kinds of things that make one team. But you've got to be, whatever you want to do the most, you do the best. If you want to tackle, if you want to do this, you want to win the game. If you don't give a rat's rookie about who you're playing, regardless of that's what makes you win. So
I don't think there's any doubt, Coach. And I think I go back to a quote. I remember I asked Takeo Spikes one time. I was like, "What makes you good at tackling?" And he said, "Want to." Yep. He said, "If you want to get that guy to the ground more so than he wants to get past you, you will get him to the ground." Now, there are a million limbs off the trunk of that tree. Technique, fundamentals, angles, approach, leverage, all of it. And also, one of those limbs is who's carrying the football. Because Adrian Peterson's, a little bit different than Carl Stewart. I mean, it's the reality of what it is. So, but it goes back to want to, and I think you opened up a much bigger door there where the want to and the desire has shrunk a little bit. because not because people don't want it as much, but because of the fallout of when it doesn't happen is not as great as it used to be. Like we used to want to do things because we were terrified of what was on the other side of that. Like I wanted to prove people wrong, and I wanted to start, and I wanted to play football so bad because I knew what it was like to sit on the bench because I redshirted my freshman year and I watched everybody else play and I hated it. I don't know if that's evident anymore as much as it used to be. And so therefore the desire shrinks a little bit, or the want to shrinks a little bit, because you don't have the repercussions. Like I feel like a lot of people in the past had. Like a lot of times now, if they don't play, you're still getting $7,000 a month. Oh, and guess what I'm doing at the end of the year? I'm saving my red shirt year and I'm going to go play somewhere else. I didn't have that option. Greg didn't have that option. My options when I did that were like D3. Like that's where you transferred to when I played football because you didn't want to sit out. So you went like D2, D3, NAIA. That's what you did. I wasn't doing that. So you had to figure out a way to play. That's not what it is anymore.
Yeah, well, they were playing for $15 a month when I was coaching. That's what they got, $7.50 every 2 weeks.
Now they're playing. More than I got. I didn't get any money a month.
You got nothing?
I got a scholarship check, but I mean, I wouldn't pay. We were on quarter system when I got to Auburn, when I was able to move out. By the way, Rick Trickett didn't let us move out for 2.5 years. So I spent the first 2.5 years in the dorms.
Yeah, I know Rick.
So we stayed in the dorm. When I moved off campus, you get your scholarship check. We were on quarter system. That was 3 months. So whatever it was, $600. I think it was around 8 something total. I would go take that, and I had like $420 left for the quarter. And then I would say, all right, cable's going to cost me this, phone's going to cost me this, whatever. All right, there's another $186 that I need to know right now has got to go. And I would give that to the guy that handled all the bills. I'd be like, and if I owe you more, just tell me if it fluctuates, utilities. But like, here's the money for all. And I'm sitting there on like $328 for three and a half months.
Dating, did you? We can't talk about dating because your wife might be listening. You didn't do much dating, did you?
I didn't have a date until like 2010 when I was living in Huntsville.
I love that. Great. Well, I've stirred y'all up enough. I guess y'all want me to get on out of the way so y'all can talk to somebody who knows something about football.
That's always fun, Coach, and you're always joined every week. Thanks to our friends at Coke and Piggly Wiggly.
Well, Coke and Piggly Wiggly, outstanding. I'm having dinner. I had dinner several times with Stanley since I talked with y'all. Stanley Sigdale. Piggly Wiggly is outstanding. Walk in there and get anything that you need. Get a smile. Get the great food. They've got steaks. They've got whatever you might want in the way of vegetables, and you'll be darn sure it's fresh and ready to go. Coke is a great product. I talk about Coke. If you're looking for something this hot weather that you need to drink it, it's terrific. You can drink it any way you want to drink it, without sugar or with sugar. And Coca-Cola is great. I appreciate you guys having me on, and I was worried about the show going good. Y'all made the show good today. Appreciate y'all.
Well, we appreciate you, Coach. Always good stuff. Always fun having you.
All right, bye-bye.
All right, the Coach Wimp Sanderson joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. We will get back to some of your tweets, some of the things that you had to say on the other side of the break. Before we do that, Greg, and we move on, tell our friends about Crocker Moving Services.
Local company owned by an Iraq War veteran, Eric Crocker. Crocker believes in hiring movers you can trust to complete full background checks and run drug tests on every single employee. These are good guys. You can trust them in your home. Whether you need your whole home packed up and move, your company headquarters moved across country, or you just want them to come rearrange your living room, these guys got you covered. They also do deliveries for furniture that you purchased and need to get to your home. So call or visit them online today for a free quote. The website's CrockerMovingServices.com. That's CrockerMovingServices.com. Support your veterans by choosing Crocker Moving Services for your next move.
All right, we're going to have a little more conversation around SEC teams that could potentially find their way to Atlanta. And at 9:30, Mike Repole going to join the show. Billionaire, new partial owner of the UFL, Birmingham Stallions on the clock apparently. We'll have that discussion in 10 minutes next on Jocks.
Go inside Jocks 94.5 on Jocks TV. Morning Jocks, Mac and Cube, and Three-Man Front video simulcasts are presented by Bill Smith Buick GMC and Game Day Men's Health. Watch on the Jocks mobile app and YouTube by searching Jocks 94.5 TV.
Mike Repole, new partial owner of the UFL, going to join us in 7 minutes right here on the show. Hopefully get some questions answered about the Birmingham Stallions and the future there of the UFL. Sticking back to our SEC conversation, Greg, on teams that we feel like could possibly make the SEC championship game. We landed around 10. There are a couple of maybe possibly.
There's probably 3, maybe possibly. I think Ole Miss, Tennessee, and South Carolina all fit that bill. Like if the stars align, sure. But
you could even go Auburn, Florida, Oklahoma, technically in that discussion too. Just there are parts that you feel a little bit better about with those groups. And then you go a team like Missouri and you say, okay, schedule really going to help that group. So yeah, there are multiple ways to kind of look at who maybe has a chance and who has a lot less of a chance.
I think so. And a lot of it does have to do with schedule. As much as I don't like that, it does feel like schedule is a big part of why I feel the way I feel about some of these teams and some of these evaluations.
Let me ask you this. On those teams that everybody would just say, yes, they can get there. Yes, they have an opportunity to be in. Georgia, Bama, Texas, LSU. Who do you have the least confidence in of those sort of top-tier team, top-shelf teams making it to the actual SEC championship game? Not playoffs, not maybe even make a run in the playoffs, but getting to Atlanta. Because that's like what you said. The conference schedule really becomes critical then if you're talking about getting to Atlanta. Doesn't matter if you lose a non-con week 1.
Yeah.
It affects your team, but that doesn't affect you playing in the SEC championship game.
Correct. I think a lot of it has to do with some guys, and part of why I feel kind of confident about some of these teams is maybe it's not just the team, but they have a specific individual that could transcend.
No doubt.
That's why South Carolina's in that mix. That's why Ole Miss might be in that mix because of Austin Simmons, who I think has a chance to be super elite.
That's why Auburn's getting more conversation than some other teams might.
I think Auburn's really the sum of every part, more so than one specific individual. Like Oklahoma's in this conversation because I believe John Mateer can transcend and elevate everyone on that roster. Like sometimes it's easy to kind of fall victim by looking at that one player and starting to kind of maybe think, well, where are we from a team standpoint? That Fair. I think is kind of hard because I don't think you can win an SEC championship anymore with the Cam Newton. Then that's it. I think you have to have a big time.
That's where your reservations with South Carolina kind of come in.
Yes, I think
that's great to go get a game with a team that's a lot better than you.
Correct.
But to get to that point in the season and then do it against that team that's also there is going to be really tough.
Yes, agree 100%. So I think to run the gamut, right, that's going to be a lot tougher now than it was prior to the additions of some of these teams. Because now you have too many teams on the schedule that can beat you. One player cannot transcend and win 6 games by himself. Might be able to win 2, but 6?
What about winning the SEC championship game? Is that gonna take a different? Are we gonna have the conversation now when we get to that game of you gotta have a different mentality because that's not the launching pad to automatically get you in anymore, and it's also not the eject button to get you out of the playoffs anymore.
Yeah.
And we've debated the importance of it, but are we going to start getting to SEC championship week and saying, no, I like them because their mentality is different. Like they care more. They do the right things the right way. They don't make as many mistakes. They might not even be as good of a team, but they just have a different level of leadership, stability, consistency. And that is what's going to put teams ahead of the curve when we're talking about actually winning the SEC championship game. Yeah,
I think winning the SEC championship game is a whole nother level. Because whoever you're playing is going to be big time legit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're going to be big time legit. And that is not something that I think is going to be easy to win without big time personnel. Georgia won it last year. They were excellent. I think if you look at some of the other teams, how many teams are excellent across the board? Georgia was pretty dang good across the board in some cases last year. Now, wide receivers inconsistent, quarterback decision-making inconsistent, offensive line inconsistent. Like inconsistency, sure, but on their best day, it was pretty sporty. Was it not?
Yes.
So I have a hard time envisioning a scenario where a team that is not extremely, extremely solid wins the SEC.
Yep. Okay. We will see. I think the SEC championship game conversation is going to get really intriguing because It's not the automatic springboard and it's not the automatic eject button, but seating, home field, bye, all going to be a real part of the conversation when you get there. So how does it affect the teams that either win or lose? It's going to be a different conversation. And then, like you said, maybe a different makeup of team, not just who's the most talented or won the most games, may actually have the advantage there. We'll continue that conversation on the last segment of the show. But when we come back, Mike Repole, new partial owner of the UFL, is going to be with us to talk the future of the Birmingham Stallions. Before we get to him, you're going to have to wait for that one, G-Mac. But one thing you never have to wait for is your dental care.
That's because Family Care Dental has you take care of. They're the urgent care officer. You can be seen the same day. They can get you in on Fridays and Saturdays, which is tremendous as well. Knowing right now with school and schedules is tough. So they can get you in on the weekends, which is helpful. Hoover, Fultondale, Homewood, Alabaster, and in Trustful. Any of those places will give you great service. You're going to be very, very happy with the experience that you have when you go to Family Care Dental. So if you go and check them out, give them a call, 874-9605. That's 874-9605. It's Family Care Dental, 874-9605.
Mike Repole, new partial owner of the UFL, joining us next right here on Jocks.
The capital of the sports talk nation. This is Jocks 94.5 and JocksFM.com. Birmingham.
All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Hoping to get Mike Repole, billionaire, new partial UFL owner, on the phones here in a few minutes. What's the latest we have, John? We're trying to effort this.
Working into its schedule.
Boop. Let's ride.
Hopefully we can get that done and potentially get a few answers on where we are with the Birmingham Stallions, where part of the future of the UFL may actually be. Your future can be better in a lot of different ways. Weight loss, maybe skincare, gut health, arthritis, anxiety at your CBD store. They have answers to those problems. Appetite suppressant trimmed by SunMed on the shelves now at your CBD store, largest brick and mortar CBD retailer in the world. Also, if you have arthritis, you suffer from the achy joints, moving around, getting around, or your pet in your household does, they have products that can help you with that. They have products that can give you better focus, more energy throughout the course of the day. They can help you there without the jitters of all the coffee that you've been drinking. Just go to your CBD store, first company to have USDA certified organic oil supplements. If it's something just to take the edge off in the evenings, you can do that as well at your CBD store. They are open. Their products are still for sale. They have 3 locations: Highway 280 by Bailey Brothers, 150 by the Cajun Cleaver, Trustful just off 459. Your CBD store, where good health hits home. Maybe on those teams that you look at extending to the SEC championship game. Like you said, Auburn feels like let's go the next level down from those top tier teams, and that would be Bama, Georgia, Texas, LSU. So now we're in the category of Florida, Auburn, Oklahoma, Missouri, Texas A&M. We're in that bunch of teams right now.
Yeah.
Of can they get to the SEC championship game? Who's maybe teetering on the edge the most there for you? Like, I love a lot about this team. There's a lot of maybes with this team. There's a lot of could-bes with this team, but man, it's on thin ice. Like it's if one thing goes wrong, it's all going to go wrong.
Florida.
I think if we ask 10 people, we might get 8 different answers there.
Probably so. But I think Florida, the biggest challenge was looking at who's going to be in the SEC championship game is evaluating the schedule.
Fair enough.
And while their non-conference is challenging, we know that. That's been largely scrutinized. The game at Miami, game against Florida State, like we know those are tough. That does not get you to the SEC title game. But you look at the rest of their schedule within the SEC, it's extremely difficult, man.
You still have Texas at home after you've been to LSU and to Miami.
Yes.
And then after that game, you got to go to Texas A&M.
You're at LSU early. That's hard. You're at A&M. That's hard.
I'm just going to tell you guys right now, I don't care if it's 6:30 p.m., Greg, and you're going to be on the call for that one. You play in Baton Rouge on 9/13, it ain't fun.
No, it's going to be a beast.
We talked about lava earlier in the show. You're going to feel like you're drinking lava in that game.
It's going to be a beast. There's no doubt it's going to be
miserable.
A beast. So it doesn't mean it can't be done. Just means it's going to be real hard. And that's, I think, maybe the hardest part about it is that it doesn't matter how good they are. Like, doesn't matter who you are. You could go into those games with the Kansas City Chiefs and feel like, man, I don't know, some of these are toss-ups. Like, it's just a hard schedule. And if you got to be 6-2 in the league to get to the title game, that's our assumption. Can they get there with this schedule? I think they can get Texas at home. I do. I think they can get Texas at home. But can they follow that game on the road at A&M? Can they go on the road at Ole Miss? Can they go on the road and get who else do they have? I already said A&M, LSU. Like, can they go on the road and get these wins? Like, it's just a hard schedule, man. That's it.
The road schedule's nasty.
It's filthy.
Plus, I mean, what was one thing that Steve Spurrier set out to do during his time at Florida? Not play Kentucky late in the season. He didn't like going up there late. He wanted them early. And that's where that game has lived for, the last 20 years? It's been like week 3 or 4. And now they got to go to Lexington late in the year. And then you go to Ole Miss the week after that. I think that's what I see, Greg, is South Florida's not going to be fun, but then you're at LSU, but at Miami the next week. Okay, you come home for Texas, then you go back to A&M. So potentially the 2 most difficult games on your schedule are going to be back-to-back, and then you get a road game to College Station after that.
Yeah.
You got to go at Kentucky, but then you're at Ole Miss the next week. That's back-to-back, and then you play one of your rivalry games. Actually, you play 2 rivalry games the following 2 weeks, Tennessee and Florida State. It's not just the teams; it's the alignment of that schedule that is just nasty.
100%. And I love their team.
There's a lot to like about them. I'm with you.
I love their team. I don't know. I don't care what you could have last year's Texas team, and you're going to struggle with that. Ohio State is not going undefeated on that schedule with what they had last year.
So here's one we haven't talked about from the perspective that you've been taking here recently, and that is schedule. We're efforting to get Mike Repole on the show.
I don't want to talk schedule, but it's a necessary evil, unfortunately.
Yeah, we were told he was going to join, so John's working on it. We're trying to make it happen. His schedule apparently had a hiccup, so we're not bypassing that. We are working to potentially make that happen, and that's Texas A&M. Before we talk about Texas A&M, a team whose floor we don't believe to be very low, tell our listeners about Shannara Flooring.
Well, Shannara Flooring has been the great go-to for a long time here in the area. Fu and his guys do a great job of protecting your home, upgrading your home. We know that if you have old carpet and you want to put in some hardwood, man, it's a great time to do it because right now they have CoreTech Flooring by Shaw in stock, 40,000 square feet of it. You can get $10,000 off per box, $10 off per box. Save you thousands if you order that CoreTech Flooring by Shaw in stock right now at Shannara Flooring. You can get 12 months financing as well. So you can really stack some savings depending on how much of your flooring you're trying to get installed. Buy it from Shannara Flooring, save a ton of money, finance it over 12 months, and by going to fooandyou.com. That's fooandyou.com.
Texas A&M from a schedule perspective, Greg, let's take a similar look through a similar lens like we just did Florida on their potential this upcoming season. Not near as daunting, I don't think. Well, the road schedule is not going to be fun at all. I mean, you're at Notre Dame, you're at Arkansas, you're at LSU, you're at Missouri, 3 consecutive games, by the way, and then you're at Texas to close it out. But you do get a few sort of minor breaks in there comparatively to what you're going to see with Florida. You're off after Notre Dame before you play Auburn. You get Auburn at home, so that's a good little rest early. You will be off between 2 of those, that triple threat road game of at Arkansas, at LSU, at Missouri. You're off before the 3rd one. That's probably where you would want that bye week the most right there.
Yes.
It gives you extra time to prepare for Mizzou, extra time to rest after LSU and at Arkansas. At that point in the season, November 1st, you're going to need that weekend off. However, at Notre Dame is not going to be easy. Auburn, Mississippi State,
not at all, by the way.
Florida at home. If Auburn and Florida are peaking in the ways that we've talked about them, all of a sudden this becomes a literal death march in the early portion of the season. Then you got to go to Arkansas, which we know. When was the last time this game was played on one of the home sites? Because then when A&M came in the league, they started at Jerry World, correct?
Yes. I think it's been at Jerry World like 10 years.
So I want to say this game hasn't been at one of the home fields for a long time. So you don't think Arkansas fans are going to be into that one? That place can be rocking.
I think they'll be ready to roll. I think they'll have that one circled.
Then you got to go to LSU.
And Arkansas's had their hands full with A&M. So you know
that
you're going to get their
game's always
rest.
been just a jumbled up mess of what the hell is going to happen next.
Did you call it last year?
No, I've never done it.
I thought I've
never done
that
game. No. But It'll be fun. And then at Mizzou, November the 8th, probably not going to be an enjoyable trip.
I just don't know about Mizzou.
There's a lot of question marks, but I think there's some things that could be really good.
Totally.
We love Ahmad Hardy. We love Connor Tollison at center. We love Kenyon Green at guard. We love Brett Norfleet at tight end. Marvin Burks at safety. Drink loves his receivers. But, yeah, the other tackle spot, not real sure. Quarterback, obviously don't know because they're going to play 2 in the opener. I think the D-line is going to be better than people think. That's why I have a little extra confidence with Missouri, is I think people are sleeping on their defensive line, and I think that could get them out of some real jams. Because Zion Young was good last year. Chris McClellan's played in the league for a while. Sterling Webb has been solid, and you had Damon Wilson up front to give you a little something different.
That's one of the better ads in the league that is kind of still flying under the radar.
Yeah. A kid can get it. If you get him going all the time and put him in positions to make plays, he can help. There's no doubt. So, I don't know. You look at that A&M schedule, Greg, and does it give you more hope, less hope that they could be vying for a spot in the SEC championship game?
Probably go slightly less hope, but it wouldn't shock me. I think they're built the right way. I don't know if you see it that way.
Let's go to Carson in Huntsville, 800-239-9569 to get in on the Higginbotham hotline if you'd like before we go to break. Welcome in, Carson.
Hello. How are you guys doing this morning?
We're doing great. Thanks.
Yeah, so I'm just calling in because I'm a Stallions fan. I'm just calling in before Mike calls in because I just want to talk about some of the frustrations I've had with this entire situation. It's been annoying because I've been a Stallions fan since 2022. I followed the team. I followed the USFL, the UFL. I gave money. I was a fan. I tried to promote whatever I could. And then you see the situation happen, and I don't know. It feels like the league is trying to blame fans when the fans were trying to tell the league what to do. And then it feels like the league's expecting Stockholm Syndrome to appear with what's going on right now. I don't know how to describe it. You expect 5,000 season ticket holders to magically appear and just say, oh, okay, well, here's this arbitrary goal. And just, all right, you guys, there you go, set it out.
Let me ask you this, and I'm asking this in full sincerity. I don't know the answer to this. Did the team set that goal out, or did the league mandate that goal?
In my opinion, I think it's but just a goal that Mike set up on Twitter, and then all of a sudden fans were just willing to follow through on that goal, which, look, if we're trying to save the team, fans are going to try to do everything they can to do that. But when the league is barely giving you any support, okay, yeah, you bought a domain. That's nice. But what about actual support? We didn't have any of that on social media for 3 days. It's just there's no marketing push. Even when they say, oh, let's do a push, there's no push once again.
I think you make a few fair points. I'll be interested to see what the counter would be from the league, and maybe we get that when we come back next right here on Jocks.
Go inside Jocks 94.5 on Jocks TV. Morning Jocks, Mac and Cube, three-man front video simulcasts are presented by Bill Smith Buick GMC and Game Day Men's Health. Watch on the Jocks mobile app and YouTube by searching Jocks 94.5 TV.
All right, welcome back in. McElroy Cubelic in the morning. Hoping to still have Mike Repole join us here at the end of the show to give us an update on the UFL, new partial owner of the UFL, billionaire that maybe could give us some thoughts on the future of the Birmingham Stallions and what's going to happen and how things are going to operate. He did tweet, by the way, on August 19th, Birmingham Stallion Nation. So far, we have 1,392 season tickets in one suite. The suite is really impressive. I see and feel the passion. Honestly, didn't expect a suite, and I love that bigger financial commitment. I'm going to count the suite as 200 season tickets. That means we're at 1,600. Well done, Birmingham. Just 3,400 more to go to hit our goal. Here's the link, SaveTheStallions.com. But again, is that just where he would like to see it? Is that what he thinks is
that the minimum?
A real commitment? Does that definitively save the franchise to not leave Birmingham? As somebody who works for the league, I will be somewhat cautious here, but I'll just say this. You're playing with fire, you take this team out of Birmingham. That's my opinion. And then I personally don't care much about attendance. I think it affects the TV numbers greatly and the interest. And I think some of the discussion that you get by having a team here I think you benefit from that greatly. That's just my opinion, Greg.
I don't know enough about the television numbers, the markets. I don't know. I just don't know. All I know is that Birmingham's won a bunch of championships, and I think that should lead to pretty strong support within the community. I can't tell you what the TV numbers look like when the Stallions are on TV. I don't know. I have no idea. I haven't seen the market breakdowns, but I do think that it's great for us in the community to have pro sports. I wish there was a way to pack the stadium on a weekly basis, but for whatever reason, it just hasn't happened. And I also understand, too, if they're trying to increase viewership and increase popularity, ticket revenue is going to be important. I get that. So here's hoping that we can keep hold of Birmingham Stallions, keep them here, because I don't know for sure if the grass will be greener on the other side if they were to take them out of Birmingham. I just don't know the dynamics enough.
Yeah, we obviously don't want to see it. We obviously don't want it to take place, don't want it to happen. And I would just say this too: don't formulate a negative opinion on Mike if this appearance today does not happen. It was attempted to be put together a little bit late by some of his people, and if it doesn't work out, I don't think that it's him avoiding the show. I don't think that it's him trying to get out of anything. I would expect that he would gladly make it up to us at another point. I just don't want anybody to think that we're trying to push this in a direction that's like, ooh, he backed out of this or he's scared of talking to us. We wanted to try to make it happen. It was put together quickly, and then that's just kind of where it is. So we are obviously going to be on the side of things that we don't want this to take place. We obviously want the Stallions to stay, but we also know that some things are very different. And a business is a business, and people run them certain ways, and there are certain things that they want to get out of those, GMAC.
Yeah, and everyone looks at this with slightly different priorities. Like, honestly, with Fox being a huge part of this, it's about TV. It's about TV. Like that's that. But the other aspect of this is you can put a lot of things on television that won't rate quite as well as the UFL, but they're not going to cost as much as the UFL to operate. So while the TV numbers are good, you also need the gate revenue to at least make up some of the costs that require paying players, traveling players, hiring coaching staffs, keeping health and medical people on staff. Like there's a lot of overhead to this league. So television ultimately drives the bus, but at the same time, you have to have gate revenue to offset some of those costs as well. And based on what we saw last year from a handful of markets, the attendance was not ideal. How was the attendance last year at most of the games that you went to outside of St. Louis?
It could have been better. I didn't even do a game in St. Louis last year, but DC was solid. I did not do a game in Birmingham. One game in Detroit was very well attended. One was below average. I would say Memphis was atrocious, and I did a couple of games in Memphis. I thought San Antonio was better than it had been, and God knows I've done my share of games in San Antonio.
A handful.
It's just a couple.
Few.
It's my third home away from home, right behind Lexington.
Oh, yeah.
But it was better than I thought like it had been a couple previous years. So we'll see. It can't just be based on attendance. And I also feel like you have to go out of your way to help with attendance. Has that happened? I don't really know. I don't know what to compare that to, of what leagues, what teams, what markets have done more, have done less, have helped, have not helped. I think all that plays in, and all that is a little bit of a factor. Where do you see this going, John? Where do you see this ended up next for the Stallions? Is this a ploy by the league? Is this a team that actually should be on the brink of being moved? Where are you on this topic?
From what I gathered, he was the one that, if he didn't put down the ultimatum or the suggestion of 5,000 season tickets, he's the one that's been pushing it, following his social media, all like that. It feels like he's the one that. So I don't know if that was a league mandate or maybe his idea or what, but it also kind of feels like if that's being requested or saying, hey, we need this to keep going or not, it does feel like I said, like an ultimatum. And if that's the case, I hate that Birmingham's in this situation, but also if I'm a fan, like I've been there. Like, I've been doing this. Like, what more do you want from me?
Right.
Like, what else can I do? I've done what I can. I've been at the games. We, as a station, I feel like we've promoted. We've had people go out there. We've done what we can. Like, what else can we do?
Damian, where do you feel like? What did you make of the tweet that was sent out by Mike Repole? Was it a threat? Was it a hope? Was it?
It felt like an ultimatum. Like, it really did. I hate to put it so negative, but it felt like the Birmingham Southern situation where it's okay. Well, now that it's out there and it's open, you've given us a week to have 5,000 tickets, and it's like, man, I don't know what else we can really do.
I didn't see a deadline on it. There wasn't a deadline, was there?
Yeah, it was a week.
I'm concerned. If you want my opinion, I'm not involved with the league at all. Just am your average Birmingham resident that is proud to call this community home. I don't think they're going to be here. Like, I'm just acknowledging the fact that we've won 3 championships, and yet the attendance was still not what you want it to be. So I don't think they're going to be here. It makes me sad. Like, I love being able to take my kids to the stadium. We went to a couple games the last couple of years, like, for sure. But I'm concerned. I am.
Yeah. His tweet does not have a date of when this needs to be done by. It just says that's our goal. So maybe a litmus test, maybe a threat. We don't know. I don't know. We'll try to have him back on and talk about it and see what it means, where it is. I love having him here. Also didn't do a game here last year. So
that should be why you love having him here.
I did 2 games here back-to-back weeks the year before, and it was awesome. I had my family there for both of them. We'll try to keep you updated on that situation. We'll try to get more information. I'm sure Mike will be glad to join us another day when he can work it out for his schedule. Sorry we didn't make that happen today. 3-Man Front will be coming to you next right here on Jocks.
This is McElroy and Cubelic in the morning.